August 24th, 2026, A Life of Meditation. A sermon ending in tears. Dear beloved saints, today we quietly reflect on the sincere tears of a pastor who desperately realized his weakness before God and the great grace of the Lord who covers that broken heart. In the late Japanese colonial period, Pastor Hyun Tae-yong, who was ministering in Sinuiju, had to suffer great hardships amidst the persecution of the Japanese imperialists demanding Shinto shrine worship. Eventually, receiving a gag order on his preaching from the Japanese authorities, he could neither open his mouth before his beloved congregation nor stand on the pulpit and had to hide in the deep mountains of Goksan, Hwanghae Province, spending years in seclusion. He welcomed the long-awaited liberation, but the joy was short-lived. To escape the threat of the Communist Party, he had to embark on a grueling refugee journey southward across the 38th parallel. One evening, wandering in an unfamiliar land with nowhere to go, the faint ringing of a church bell from somewhere guided his steps. It was a holiness church. An elder who happened to be guarding the church warmly welcomed the pastor and earnestly asked him to preach for that evening service. It was an overwhelming pulpit to stand on after such a long time. With trembling hands, Pastor Hyun opened the Bible and tried to begin his sermon. However, the two characters for holiness on the church signboard hanging nearby strongly caught his eye. At that moment, shame and a sense of condemnation swept over his heart like a massive wave. A holiness church is, true to its name, a place where only a holy person can preach. What about me? When the gag order was issued under the sharp blade of the Japanese, I kept my mouth shut out of fear. And while hiding in the mountains, didn't I fail to step forward faithfully, risking my life as a servant of the Lord? The name of this pulpit, the very first I stand on after coming south, is holiness. But are my heart, my will, and my actions truly spotless? Am I a flawless person to stand on this holy pulpit? Overcome by surging shame and remorse, thick tears poured endlessly from the pastor's eyes. The congregation, not knowing the reason, held their breath and only stared at him. After sobbing silently for a long while, the pastor barely opened his mouth and confessed, "When I look at those two characters' holiness, I first ask myself, if I am truly a holy person, looking back on my shameful past and my flawed present, I have nothing but tears of repentance to shed." In the end, Pastor Hyun had to step down from the pulpit, shedding only tears, unable to deliver a single word of his prepared sermon. However, those tears of repentance, which were more sincere than any eloquent sermon, deeply touched the hearts of all the congregation gathered there, and the whole church embraced each other, weeping and sharing in overwhelming grace. Dear saints, true holiness does not come from the perfection of our lives. The beginning of true holiness is found in the tears of a broken spirit, shed with a torn heart upon discovering our infinitely small and humble selves before a holy God. The Lord deeply embraces not those who boast of their own righteousness, but those who fall before the cross weeping, "I am unworthy," and He covers all our faults with His holy blood. Meditation and application. The first meditation is facing my true self before the holiness of God. When I come before God, am I trying to hide my shortcomings and failures, or packaging myself with a religious exterior? Today, go alone to a quiet place and look at the cross. Resolve to have a time of sincere repentance before the Lord, honestly confessing your inner fears, cowardice, and hidden sins exactly as they are. The second meditation is enjoying peace within the grace that covers a broken heart. Are you falling into deep condemnation and depression, thinking I am unworthy due to past failures or present weaknesses, and doubting the Lord's love? Meditate on the warm embrace of Jesus, who does not break a bruised reed. Embrace in your heart the love of the Lord's cross, which wipes away your tears and sanctifies you by grace, and boldly rise again today in the place of life given to you.